Yo, welcome to episode 3 of Miracle Mindset for Men. I'm your host, Heru Dre, aka Dre, aka Handsome Heru. Tonight's episode is going to be called Rites of Passage. Okay? So, the last episode, we're going to do a recap on the last episode before we get into today's or tonight's subject. We talked about acceptance and forgiveness, learning to accept who you are, what you are, how you are, and why you are, and forgive yourself through all of the things that you didn't know, all the things you did know, all of the choices you made, whether they were good or bad. Just trying to get your mind elevated from one point to another to keep you in a higher frequency and a higher vibration. So tonight's episode is rites of passage. Now, this is a very, very important subject to talk about when it comes to trying to become a better person, or to try to change who you are for the betterment of yourself and other people in your life. So I'm gonna get right to it. So we're gonna start off with the definition of what the phrase rite of passage means. It is a ceremony or ritual of the passage which occurs when an individual leaves one group to enter another and involves a significant change of status in society. Okay? I'm going to just stop right there. So, once you already got to the point to where you accept yourself and you forgive yourself, and now you're ready for the change. Now, this is the part where the rites of passage comes from. Now, I've heard this term before a few years ago. Shout out to Mike Rashid for mentioning it to me. Well, he didn't mention it to me per se, but he mentioned it, and I looked it up for myself. And it's a very interesting phrase to use because rites of passage doesn't only mean a ceremony of, changing groups, but actually it can be, because if you want to change, you have to change your environment. So yeah, rites of passage will fall under the line of changing one group and you into another group. In order for you to change, you have to get rid of the old environment that you're in, and you have to get into an environment what is going to better you, right? So, and it also involves a significant change in social and status in society. It's the same thing, whether you're career driven, whether you got a specific career you're trying to get into, whether you're just trying to make more money, whether you're trying to further in the career that you're in. Rites of passage is definitely something that, people need to understand the concept of, because a ritual doesn't necessarily mean anything bad, and we were taught that ritual, you shouldn't do rituals, blase, but ritual is a prayer because you're asking for something and you're trying to get something, but and also to get that you have to actually practice what you're asking for. And rituals is like a repetition of something that you're trying to do to achieve something. Same thing with prayer, you're asking for something to achieve something, but work without faith is dead. So if you pray and you're not doing something to work for what you pray for, you're not going to get it. Same thing with a ritual. If you're continuously and being persistent in what it is that you desire, that's a ritual, and you are manifesting your ritual to a reality, or you're manifesting your prayer into a reality, right? So, rites of passage. It's a thing to where people tend to be stuck and they don't have no sense of direction of where they want to go. And I believe that you need mentorship, you need mentors in your life, you need spiritual teachers, you need any type of teachers really, who can help guide you into the direction that you're willing to go. Rites of passage is like killing the old you and rebirthing a new you, right? It's like a transition thing. Like Easter is like a representation of transition, and you bury the old you and you are resurrecting a new you, a better you. Same thing with rites of passage. But with rites of passage, you actually have to have a ritual or a prayer or a ceremony. You find something that helps, how can I put it? You find something that can keep you focused on what it is that you're trying to achieve and what you desire, right? So in a ceremony, you're celebrating. Ceremony means celebrating. So you want to celebrate leaving the old you and transitioning to a new you. So every episode that I do, it's like steps, right? Each episode is a step on how you can elevate yourself as a person. The first episode was about miracles, being a miracle. We talked about what a miracle was. The second episode was about acceptance and forgiveness. Because in order for you to elevate yourself, you have to understand who you are. You have to accept who you are, and you have to forgive yourself, which is probably one of the most challenging things you can do, is to forgive yourself and even accept yourself. So now we get past that part, then we get to the next phase, rites of passage. Now that you understand and accept yourself and you forgave yourself, now it's time to build a new person of who you desire to be. Not who you want to be, who you desire to be. And you have to create some type of ritualistic way of trying to aim to be this person that you desire to be, right? So, and then with the ceremony thing, you want to celebrate getting rid of the old you. Not necessarily getting rid of the old you, you're going to live with the old you, but you want to learn how to live above your old habits. Like, we never really get rid of our demons. We just certainly learn to live above them, right? But at the same time, we can still become a person who we desire to be, and that's where epigenetics come in. And there's a book that talks about epigenetics and creating a new version of yourself through the subconscious mind. It's like a repetition thing. It's like a 30-day challenge. A psychologist talks about the importance of doing something in repetition for 30 days to start seeing a change in you. So I do recommend the book Breaking the Habit of Being Your Old Self, or Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, not Old Self. It's by Joe Dispenza. I think I recommended that in the first episode. But at the end of this video, or at the end of this live, I'm going to recommend another book that can also help with the miracle mindset. It's also going to help with the rites of passage, and it's also going to help with the acceptance and forgiveness. So, in recap, because I'm not going to make these videos long, just trying to get straight to the point. When you're going through your rites of passage, you have to understand that you have to create yourself a ritual in order to let go of the old you and embrace a new you, a new version of yourself that you desire to be, right? And a lot of I had actually went through a rites of passage a few years ago because I was going through something very traumatic that I brought on myself. Nobody did it to me, and I needed a change because I just felt like I was losing who I am as a man, as a spiritual being, as a person, as a son, a brother, a friend, and I knew I needed change. So I went through my rites of passage by doing a lot of spiritual practices, a lot of reading, affirmations, self-talk, solitude, most definitely, being by myself a lot. It can be a challenge, but it's very simple. Like sometimes you gotta turn the phone off. You just gotta sit in darkness and just sit in quietness and let your mind just wander and run free. And then you'll actually get to see how everything is going on in your life, how you think, what you think, and why you think it like this. And then you'll be able to control your thoughts. And I know sometimes we can get caught up in what's going on around us that we're not very aware of what we're thinking and what we're saying and what we're doing. But when you practice being alone a lot, you'll always be aware and self-conscious about the things that you say, how you feel, what you say, how you act. So I really believe that is a one step to your rites of passage, is learning how to be by yourself. So the book that I want to recommend, which can help do that, if I can find it. I know I had it. Here we go. This is by Don Miguel Ruiz. The Mastery of Love. I recommend, if you can't find this book, well, you can find this book everywhere. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on YouTube. But I recommend people read this book. This will give you a clear path of what you need to do to better yourself. And there's one particular thing here that really stuck out the most. And I want to share this with y'all before I end this video. You treat people based on how you feel about yourself. So I'm going to let that sit there. You treat people based on how you feel about yourself. Okay? I'm going to let that sit there, and I'll let that marinate on y'all, and then y'all can think about that. And the last thing I want to leave y'all with, when you're going through this journey, through your rites of passage and acceptance and forgiveness and having a miracle mindset, every person that you come encounter with is an aspect of you that you didn't know about yourself. I'm going to say that one more time. Every person that you come encounter with is an aspect of you that you did not know about yourself. What do I mean by that? I'm going to just let that sit there, because you will never truly know what you like or don't like until you're around a person that do something that you like or don't like. You will never know what you think, well, not think. You will never know how something makes you angry, sad, happy, joy, hurt, anxious. You will never know that until you deal with a person who bring out those emotions, and that's how you build you and your character. So just let those couple of things sit in, and y'all can ponder on that and think about that. So that was the end of this episode. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Thank you for everybody who will be tuning in. Episode 4 will be going live on Saturday, probably around like 1 or 2 o'clock. That episode is going to be titled Emotional Intelligence and Emotional Maturity. We're going to break down what 2 of them mean separately and how they're synonymous to each other at the same time. Okay? All right, so y'all have a good